Welcome to Echoes of Africa, where hidden stories, bold voices, and untold truths rise from the heart of the continent. Before you dive in, hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because every echo here reveals the Africa they don't want you to see. Europe didn't expect this. Investors didn't expect this. Even energy analysts missed it. But what's happening right now across Africa is nothing short of an industrial shockwave. A new energy empire is being built, not in the Gulf, not in Asia, but across the Atlantic coastline of Africa. And it's not oil, gas, or coal. It's something Europe desperately needs, something the world has quietly been racing toward: green ammonia, the clean fuel powerful enough to run ships, aircraft, factories, fertilizer industries, and entire nations without fossil emissions. For decades, Africa has been positioned as a resource supplier. Namibia is building a $20 billion green hydrogen, green ammonia zone. Morocco is planning one of the world's largest ammonia export hubs. Mauritania is constructing a green ammonia megaproject larger than its entire national economy. And Europe, the world's biggest importer of ammonia, is now turning toward Africa because it has no other realistic option. The unexpected twist? Africa is not negotiating from weakness. For the first time in living memory, the continent is dictating terms. It is setting prices. It is choosing partners. And it is building infrastructure that will reshape global energy flows for the next century. This is the story of how Africa quietly launched the world's most surprising clean energy empire, an empire Europe never saw coming. For more than a century, ammonia has been the chemical that feeds the world. It powers fertilizer factories, supports agriculture, and fuels global food supply chains. But traditional ammonia is made from natural gas, producing nearly 2% of global carbon emissions. Europe is the world's largest importer, and the 2022 energy crisis exposed its vulnerability. Natural gas prices exploded, fertilizer factories shut down, and Europe realized one brutal fact: without a new, clean ammonia source, it could not guarantee food security or industrial stability. Africa saw an opening, a massive one. With unmatched solar radiation, coastal wind corridors, vast uninhabited land, and ports facing both the Atlantic and Mediterranean, Africa has the perfect geography to produce green hydrogen and convert it into green ammonia at a scale no other region can match. Namibia became the first mover. In 2021, the Namibian government shocked the world by signing a $9.4 billion agreement with Hydrogen Energy to build one of the world's largest green hydrogen and green ammonia production hubs. The location, the Chao Cave Desert, one of the sunniest places on Earth. Engineers say the region has enough solar and wind potential to power the entire country several times over. The plan includes gigawatt-scale electrolyzers, thousands of hectares of renewable energy farms, ammonia conversion facilities, water desalination plants, and a new export port. By 2030, Namibia aims to produce up to 2 million tons of green ammonia per year. That's enough to cover a huge portion of Europe's demand and set Namibia on track to become a clean energy powerhouse. While the world celebrated Namibia's announcement, Morocco quietly prepared something much bigger. Morocco already controls Africa's largest fertilizer and ammonia industries through OCP Group, the world's biggest phosphate producer. With access to large ports, Tangier Med, Jorflosfar, and Nader West, Morocco is now developing green ammonia corridors directly linked to Europe's industrial centers. What makes Morocco dangerous, in a competitive sense, is its efficiency. The country already exports fertilizer to more than 50 nations. It has shipping routes, industrial clusters, pipelines, electrical grids, and free trade agreements in place. Adding green ammonia to its portfolio simply upgrades an existing empire. Morocco's strategy is simple: combine solar megafarms, wind corridors, hydrogen electrolysis, and ammonia synthesis into one integrated system, creating the fastest scaling clean fuel corridor in the world. Europe didn't see it coming because Morocco moved quietly, strategically, and fast. Then the biggest surprise came from Mauritania. In 2022, the country signed multiple megaproject deals worth over $40 billion to build massive green hydrogen and green ammonia sites in the Sahara coast. The largest is CWP Global's Ammonia project, one of the biggest renewable energy proposals ever created on Earth. It includes 30 gigawatts of solar and wind power, electrolyzers producing millions of tons of green hydrogen, and ammonia plants aimed at global export markets. To put this in perspective, the entire electricity generation of Mauritania today is less than 200 megawatts. The new projects are 150 times bigger than the national grid. Europe, once confident in its industrial dominance, cannot compete with these costs. African solar and wind resources allow green hydrogen to be produced for under $2 per kilogram in the coming decade, far below European levels. And once converted into ammonia, Africa can ship the fuel anywhere. Why ammonia? Because it is much easier to transport than hydrogen. It doesn't require cryogenic temperatures. Existing shipping fleets can carry it now. And when cracked back into hydrogen, it becomes a clean fuel with zero carbon emissions. Europe's steel plants, chemical industries, refineries, shipping companies, and green energy projects are all planning to use green ammonia by the 2030s. That means one thing: demand is guaranteed. Africa is building the supply. Africa's rise is also reshaping geopolitics. Germany has already signed long-term partnership deals with Namibia. Belgium, the Netherlands, and Spain are positioning themselves as green ammonia landing hubs for African shipments. Japan and South Korea are negotiating future imports. China, meanwhile, is building electrolyzers, solar farms, and wind infrastructure that African countries need to scale their ammonia production. The U.S. Development Finance Corporation has expressed interest in supporting Namibia and Morocco through clean energy financing. Africa is no longer a passive receiver of aid. It is becoming a supplier of strategic resources. One of the most unexpected advantages Africa holds is land availability. Europe simply does not have the open land needed for megaprojects. Asia faces high population density. The Middle East has the land but lacks the wind diversity needed for optimal hydrogen projects. Africa, by contrast, has vast territories, intense solar radiation, strong coastal winds, and the ability to host multi-gigawatt projects without competing with agriculture. And unlike historical extractive industries, green ammonia production gives African nations control. Governments are negotiating higher value capture, local manufacturing of components, training programs for engineers, community benefits, and long-term revenue streams. Another shock for Europe. African countries are building their ammonia hubs with export flexibility. Ammonia can go to Europe, but also to Asia, South America, or African regional markets. This gives Africa bargaining power. It can choose the highest bidder. It can shape contract terms. It can build alliances that serve African interests first. Europe's energy crisis has made it dependent on diversified imports. Africa is now one of its most important future suppliers, and African nations know it. The internal African market is also changing. Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, Djibouti, and Nigeria have begun exploring national hydrogen strategies. African airlines are studying ammonia-based sustainable aviation fuels. Ports like Walvis Bay, Dakar, and Tangermed are preparing to host ammonia bunkering hubs for the next generation of clean ships. If Africa builds this infrastructure now, it may dominate the most important energy supply chain of the next century. But the biggest transformation is economic. Green ammonia megaprojects create thousands of engineering, construction, and maintenance jobs. They require ports, roads, desalination plants, power lines, and industrial processing zones. They stimulate local manufacturing, turbines, cables, steel towers, solar modules, electrolyzer components, and ammonia synthesis reactors. They attract global capital that previously never flowed into Africa at this scale. Analysts project that Africa's green ammonia economy could surpass $120 billion by 2040 if current plans succeed. Europe never expected this because Africa was not supposed to lead the clean fuel revolution. But Africa did not wait for permission. Namibia moved. Morocco moved. Mauritania moved. And now other countries are joining the race. Together, they are building a clean energy empire at continental scale, one that will reshape global trade routes, geopolitical alliances, and industrial supply chains. Europe is watching. Asia is watching. The United States is watching. Because for the first time, Africa is not following a global energy transition, it is leading it. You've been watching Echoes of Africa, where every story carries the sound of tomorrow. If this moved you, Subscribe now, like, and share so Africa's voice never fades into silence.